You're watching Through the Looking Glass with Dr. Jenny Klein.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jenny Klein, and I've missed you, so I'm back with a new show for us all. It's about our feelings, fears, and fantasies, our pain and our pleasure, our problems and our solutions. It's a time for us to get together, think things over, and talk things over, and find out that we are not alone. Perhaps then we could all help each other make this world and our lives just a little bit better. Did you ever have a feeling that your stomach is just burning and it's really giving you a lot of trouble and you just don't want to get mad? And those two things come together. Let's take a closer look at just that issue, okay? Hey, Steve, how are you?
Fine, Dr. Klein. How are you?
Fine. You called and you said you wanted to talk about something. What was it?
Well, I went to my general practitioner. He says, he's giving me pills for stupid stuff. And he says, you may want to talk to somebody.
Pills for stupid stuff? You don't seem stupid to me. I'm kidding.
Some problem that I'm having. But
what's the problem?
I have these stomach issues that come and go.
Issues? Or are they aches, pains?
They can be pains. It depends. Sometimes it's not bad. Sometimes it's really bad. It fluctuates.
Did you ever connect at any time your stomach with what's happening around?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, sometimes you get a stomach ache, sometimes you don't.
I've always had stomach aches.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. Since I was a kid, I had stomach
really?
aches. Yeah.
And what did he find, the doctor?
He just says, take these, take this Prevlicet or whatever it is.
Take a pill.
Yeah, take a pill. And he says, and then he said, change your diet and stuff like that. And I said, was there anything else I could do? He goes, well, you can talk to somebody. So that's what brings me here. So I don't know what the hell that's going to do, but.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes when we talk about things, you said you had stomach aches when you were a little kid.
Yeah. When I was a little kid.
Did you ever find anything wrong? Any doctor ever said you got an obstruction or something?
Nah, my mom, she said my dad was like, my mom would say my dad's like that. You have what your dad has. So
how was your mom different than your dad?
Well, my mom was, how can I put it? My mom was a person who had, she was very tense. She was more the screamer, yeller in the house.
Tense, you mean angry?
Yeah, angry. But my father was Mr., how can I call it, detached, laid back type of guy. Didn't say much. You
Didn't
really
get
had
angry.
to push him. Oh, no.
Didn't get angry.
No.
Where'd his anger go?
What do you mean?
Did he have a stomach ache too?
Well, he had stomach problems like I have.
Really?
Yeah, genetic.
Oh, really? So the stomach problems are inherited, or the style of handling your anger is inherited? Because anger you don't feel gets viscerally absorbed into you. Your guts tense, they squeeze. In other words, if you wanted to be like your dad rather than your mom,
yeah,
you wouldn't scream. You just shut your mouth. Didn't you get angry when your mother was railing on you?
Not angry, but she get crazy. It's like you.
Did you like it?
My dad said, "Don't say anything.
What? Okay.
Just let it go. Just let it go."
That's a behavior. What did you feel?
What did I feel? Well, I wanted to yell and scream or do something.
That means you felt angry, but you never said anything like your dad.
Yeah, but I didn't want to be like her. She was nuts.
Right. Did she have a stomach problem?
No, she didn't have a stomach problem. She had a
her
yelling
anger
problem.
came out and gave you a problem because you didn't want to be like her, so you, like your dad, both have stomach problems.
Yeah, because she used to...
Where do feelings go if you don't express them somewhere? I didn't say scream at your mom. You could have banged your pillow or get a punching bag or something.
Yeah, but it was a constant, so I got to the point where whatever she said, like water off a duck's back.
No. It didn't roll off your back, it went into your stomach. You got the wrong part of the anatomy. In other words,
I wish my dad would have told me that. He never told me that.
What you wanted to say was, shut up, Ma! Get off my back!
It's true, because...
And so what you did instead is you swallowed it. And where do things go when you swallow them, like your feelings?
I'm sure it went well when we're talking about it, went to my stomach, because I'll be honest with you, I couldn't even eat because she would yell and scream before dinner time or whatever, and it's like, oh God, it's like, and if I would eat, I would have an upset stomach, and then she would get mad at me because I didn't want to eat, so I couldn't win.
So you had to eat, then you got another upset stomach.
Yeah.
Well, now you see the difference, but you're swallowing your anger. Your anger makes your guts tighten. It doesn't let the food go through it nicely.
And that.
So,
See, but again, I was young, but to this day I do it the same way. I don't say anything. I think people try to get me angry for whatever reason.
and you still have a stomach ache.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just avoid them.
Do you know the difference between a feeling and a behavior? Something you feel on the inside, but you don't say, like your daddy.
What do you mean?
If you have a feeling and you stuff it and don't express it to someone, you don't offend anyone, but you do offend your stomach because it gets piled up inside you and you're holding a lifetime of anger inside and there's nowhere to go. Do you have a pillow in your home?
I got 4 pillows.
Oh. Are they big and thick?
Yeah, I buy the good ones.
Did you ever take your fist and hit the pillow? The pillow will never object. I promise. It won't say a word.
When I was young, I hit a locker when I was in junior high school, and I broke my hand. And that's the last time I recall hitting something. I mean, I do want to hit things at times.
Okay. You don't want to be like your mom. You don't want to express anger to another person.
Right.
Because it'll hurt that person, and then you'll feel bad. And you don't want to hit your hand into a locker because it'll hurt your hand. But if you hit a pillow and you say, this is just a feeling, it's not going to another person like Mommy yelled at me. But my anger, if I hold it all inside, it's going to go inside and tense my stomach. And I'm going to continue to have stomach problems like Dad did. So what you want to do is acknowledge your feeling of anger and not yell at anyone else like Mommy did, and not hit your hand and break it on a locker, but get a big thick pillow and bang that pillow and get some anger out on the pillow. It's not your feeling that's bad, it's what you do. It hurts people or hurts your hand. But by not expressing it and not feeling it, it hurts your stomach. Get it?
I mean, I get it, but see, I remember this vivid situation where my father exploded. Just exploded.
Yeah,
I mean, he lost it.
He exploded on the pile he'd been repressing all these years.
He just couldn't take it anymore.
Well, sure, it's all inside
we had
him.
some financial problems and whatever, and my mother just kept up, and boom. And I remember seeing that. My mom was really hurt. I mean, he just
Did he hit her?
lambasted her. No, he broke things, though. You know, he broke some dishes, broke some cups and stuff like that. I mean, you could see that from her, but from him, I never. And I was just like shocked. I was like, what's going on? Never saw my dad. He was normally cool, calm, and collective, but that day he just lost it, and I just shook my head. I said, I'll never allow myself to do that.
Well, if you don't want to do that, you can't store anger for a whole lifetime like your dad did inside your stomach without ever expressing it. If you go a little bit every day, 5 minutes on the pillow, just let your anger out 5 minutes at a time. You get a pile of anger that's been saved up just like he saved it up, and he wound up breaking things, scaring your mother half to death. And you say, God, you don't want to stuff that inside you. 1, it'll hurt your stomach. 2, if you hit a locker, it'll break your hand. And 3, it never goes away if you don't get it out of you. There's nothing wrong with the feeling. It's what you do with it that counts.
Yeah, but I don't want anyone to see me
Now, you don't want you to see that you have anger also, and it's stored. Did you ever put something in a jar
Yeah.
and it's in there so long and you pack that jar down and then you open the jar and isn't it a mess?
Yeah.
It's gotten intense. Everything is putrefied, intense, because it's been packed in there all that time. And it's going to explode with the gases coming out of it, and it's going to break the jar open.
Yeah, it reminds me of a volcano. I think
Like
that-
your father's explosion,
like
right?
a volcano.
If you save up your normal feeling of anger instead of letting out a little at a time, not at other people and not on yourself. Because if you save it up, one, you hurt your stomach, and number two, it piles up inside you until it explodes like that. And you don't want anyone to see that you have anger.
Right.
Huh. Wait a minute. It's not the anger. And every baby. Did you have any children?
Too.
Do you remember when your child was born? Were you
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, I was there.
What was the first sound your child made when the child came out of your wife's womb?
I was screaming and yelling and
You mean-
arms flailing. And,
It was an angry, like, rah, rah.
yeah.
Right?
constant,
Was it?
Yeah.
Rah. The first feeling was coming from a comfortable place. It was getting a little too tight. Very warm, very modulated, didn't have to breathe. And all of a sudden, you had this push out of the only place you've ever known, and someone's shoving something down your throat, and your nose, cleaning out your nose, and you're screaming, it's cold, the air is cold, and you're objecting. It's an angry cry, the first cry. Now they wrap you in a blanket, they clean you up, you know, and after a while, it's okay. But the first cry we have is an angry cry. You watched your baby being born.
Yeah.
That means that anger is one of the normal emotions of 4 basic emotions: mad, sad, scared, and happy.
Well, I can be happy.
Can you be sad? Do you cry?
What? No. I'm like my dad. My dad didn't cry. My dad didn't scream or yell. I mean, this is the way I was
Didn't
brought up.
express
This is
it.
what it.
Where'd the feelings go?
I don't know. Maybe
Your tear ducts
maybe
must
got-
be clogged by now.
You might be right. I never thought about it, to be honest with you.
No, I know most people don't. That's why we're talking.
Yeah. Well, now I know what a doctor. Okay.
That's why we're talking. Because most people don't understand that. And everyone experiences, saves the anger for, stuffs anger or tears or something, because Mom wasn't very sensitive to tears and she wasn't very sensitive to your feelings, because she was screaming and yelling and
Yeah.
exploding all over the place.
Yeah, she could feel. She was feeling all over the place. And she's like, actually, my sister's like her when I think about
But
it.
did she scream? Probably she didn't cry a lot, though, did she?
Nah, she didn't cry. She yelled.
Okay, so we can say it's weak to cry, so I'm going to be strong and I'm going to be the angry one.
Strange but true.
So I'm not going to cry. So you wound up not getting mad and not crying either. But you like to be happy, don't you?
Yeah,
Ever get scared?
I do, but I don't show it.
What do you mean?
It's like I'll go to a doctor, when you go to a surgeon or whatever.
I won't let other people see me mad. I won't let other people see me scared. Because then they're going to judge me the way I'm judging me. I'm bad if I'm mad. I'm bad if I'm scared. I'm weak if I'm scared.
Weak,
And
that's the word.
I'm weak if I'm scared. So that we have all kinds of labels and judgments attached to normal feelings. Because what was your baby's second cry? Was it an angry cry, or was it a crying whimper?
It was a whimper.
It was just cry.
It was all right once.
He was sad. He was
breastfed and
a little
everything
scared.
was fine.
Fine. Then he was happy to get this little silly grin.
Yeah.
So that all feelings are there when we're born. But my God, what this world has judged feelings to be, that if a woman cries, that's okay, but a man can't cry because he's weak. That's ridiculous. You have tear ducts the same way women do.
Yeah, but it's like, whether you see it on TV, I mean, it's like when people say man up. I mean, man up means you
Man
don't show
up.
your feelings. You basically.
Where did they go, man? Your stomach? Where?
Well, I'm starting to find out that's where they're at.
Yeah.
But, it's like,
Yeah.
it's a scary thought, to be honest with you, now that you're bringing this up, because I never really put those things together. All I thought it was, and that's why I went to the doctor.
Yeah, and that's
had a
why I said go
physical
talk
problem.
to somebody instead of taking.
He didn't tell me why I came to talk to somebody, because I think he would have known I would not be here if he would say go talk to somebody because of this.
All he can do is give meds because he studied medicine. I didn't. I wouldn't know what med to give you. I said, but for your stomach, because I didn't study the stomach. I didn't do that. But so he can only do what he learned to do, and I can only do what I learned to do. But the fact is, universally, we have an awful lot of medicines for an awful lot of things, but we don't have a hell of a lot of understanding of how the mind works, what feelings are, not what we say they are. They're bad, and you're bad if you're mad, you're weak if you're sad, and you're a wimp if you're scared. You know, this is ridiculous. All these feelings are built for our protection, to register what's going on. Because if I smack you around, you're going to get mad so you can defend yourself. It's like the animal kingdom, you know? I mean, if someone growls, the other guy growls because we want to show that we can meet anger with anger.
So what you're saying here, when I'm telling you, this is not abnormal. I mean, you see other people. I mean, I'm not alone.
Normal is what most people do, but most people do a lot of things that are based on wrong beliefs. And the beliefs that say in our culture say, man up.
Yeah.
Man up means don't cry,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't want anybody else to see me cry because they'll be judging me, which means I'm judging me.
And
as
I'm
bad if I'm mad.
uncomfortable around that,
And
too. When they cry, people who cry, and we call it, it's like, I just go like that. It's like, I don't even want to be around that.
well, you know why?
Why?
Because the mind works very fast. You have a collection of tears in you, all the times you wanted to cry, but you wouldn't be a real man at 4. So you stuffed your tears too, not just your anger. So if you see someone else cry, it triggers a collection of tears inside of you. Ever watch a movie and see someone crying because someone died?
I get up. I just get up.
You get up and walk away, so
Yeah.
to avoid the trigger to that pile of tears you have stuffed inside you. Because you won't be a man if you feel tears.
That's a girly thing to do.
Honey, that's a belief you picked up because the whole world says that. And let me tell you, I mean, did you ever see a great athlete get a prize and you see him cry?
I've seen that sometimes.
What do you think, he's a wimp now?
I just think his emotions got the better of him. And once he
His
collects
emotions,
himself,
darling, are the best of him. Feelings are healings.
feelings are healings.
Yeah, because if you go back to your roots and take who you naturally are, you have tear ducts in your eyes because we are constructed to be able to cry. And we have anger because it helps us defend ourselves when we're being abused or challenged. And we have fear to tell us to get the hell out of a burning house. I get scared and I start running from the danger. These are helpful feelings. And we feel happy because it's nice to feel good and happy and share that with people. But when you start shutting your feelings down, they don't go away because you deny them. They get stored up in your brain and in your stomach. They go inside your stomach and control your stomach and tighten it so you get stomach aches.
They get muscle tension too.
Yeah, they travel through your physiology.
Yeah.
So feelings are healings when you feel them. I didn't say do it in front of a crowd because you're going to shame yourself because you haven't changed your mind about your feelings yet. We're just talking. But you have to let that anger out immediately onto a big pillow. Or if you have a punching bag, you work out. You're a
Actually, I
man
got
up.
one down in the basement.
Oh, goody. Goody. I'll bet you don't punch it very much.
No,
Why?
I bought it and it just it's over there in the corner collecting dust.
Well, what feeling would you express when you hit it? What would that
It
feeling
would be
did
like that
connect
Rocky
to?
film when he's hitting that piece of beef. And it's like,
Yeah, and he's mad.
yeah,
He's angry.
yeah.
And that's not your mother. That's the feelings you've stuffed because your mother had an overload of it. She didn't cry. She just got mad instead.
Yeah. But see, now that I hear it in the perspective that you're putting it,
You got to
much different.
reclaim.
Yeah, and it's much different than what I've learned.
Of course. We've all learned that crap.
Yeah, because you know what's interesting? I hang out with individuals who are more like myself. I
Sure,
don't
it's
want to
very
be running wimps
congruent.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you want to have the belief upheld by the people who believe the same thing, because otherwise you hang out with the guys who aren't wimps. If the guy cries, he's a wimp.
Yeah,
He doesn't man up.
yeah.
But if you express your anger, that's not okay either. You can't do what Rocky did.
No, because that's being out of control.
But if you control your anger, you survived as a child, because if you ever spoke back to your mother, she'd probably smack you in the face, right?
Oh, I guarantee.
I guarantee. So your survival meant don't get mad, control your anger to survive. That was then, but since there's no time in the mind, my friend, Steve, it affects you now and you got a bellyache.
Well, I got a major bellyache.
You got a major
I could only
bellyache.
tell you.
And all I can tell you is take a look at what you've learned about feelings, and before you learned it out in the street, out by the schoolyard, you learned it from your mother, because your instincts say, if I ever object to her, I get smacked.
Yeah. She would throw some, smack you, whatever.
And this is
then
your mother.
She wouldn't even apologize. That made it worse yet.
Well, yeah, and so therefore all anger became bad. You couldn't express anger back to your mother because you were too small and you would get hurt.
Yeah.
So you said, I ain't getting angry, I'm going to be like my dad. So you're both working on a real bellyache.
Yeah. To this day, he still has it. You know, he just has to live with it.
So this bad rep feelings have, it all depends upon what your history is, how you had to survive, that if I get mad at mom, I'm going to get hurt worse.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll scream, and I won't like that either, and I'm never going to scream. And I'm never going to express my anger, because then I'm just like mom. Well, you know what? There's a lot more people in the world. There's a lot more to anger than just your mom.
Yeah.
She did the wrong thing with her anger. She didn't cry. She just dumped on her kid and her husband. Dad saved it up and exploded one day and broke everything.
Yeah, and he always said, don't say anything.
Oh, well, you see,
That's all I remember. Don't say anything.
stuff your anger, get a bellyache like Dad. Thanks,
Yeah.
Dad. You never solved your problem, but at least with your kids, you're going to tell them, this is what you can do with anger and this is what you can't. There's nothing wrong with feeling angry, but if you hit your friend, that's not allowed.
That's a good point. 'Cause I try
But
to tell
if you wanna
I say the
hit
same
something-
thing my father does. Don't say anything.
Don't say, well, that's how we get the idea that anger's bad, because we all say it's bad, and it's crying, it means you're not manning up, and all. We just, okay, now you learn something different, you're a bright guy, you learn something different, and you send your kid downstairs to hit the punching bag when they're mad. That's what you do with it. You don't hit your brother, you don't hit your sister, you don't hit your dad, you don't hit your playmate.
Okay.
You can change this. When you change yourself, you won't be passing on the same thing you did passed on to you.
Maybe I get off those pills so I can't stand them.
Yeah. It
Seriously.
pills to feel the ills. Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you're a bright fella. What do you do?
I'm a teacher.
You said that as if it's nothing.
Because
And like I'm apologizing for it. A teacher, I'm a teacher too. This is what I'm teaching.
yeah, and that's why I'm learning. I'm listening to you, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm thinking about my students, and I think about how I try to get them to behave and not be angry and not show. And I'm thinking, my God, the message I sent to them is the message I received, and what healthy message am I giving them?
Well, you're a bright guy. You learn something and then you start to reapply it.
Yeah, I need some
Different.
conflict resolution skills something. I just, you know, I never thought about it. I never put it in perspective until
No.
I just heard this.
You just did what your dad did. You
Yeah.
figured he was the cool guy. He was the guy who wasn't going to hurt you. And you can do what you're going to be like dad, not like mom. But we all have anger. It depends what we do with it. If we stuff it, we get a bellyache. We pass it on to our kids. Don't express it. You know, don't express feeling. You know, but we all have them. So we feel anger. That wouldn't hurt an ant. We have to stomp on an ant to kill it.
Yeah.
We have to hit someone to give them a bloody nose, get arrested or something. But the pillow and the punching bag that you never used is never going to object. Somebody bought that punching bag that's been saying, let it out.
I never knew why I bought that punching bag. I'm glad you brought that up. The wife asked me, why'd you get the punching bag?
You never used it, though,
Never
because you
used-
think you're bad if you're mad.
Yeah, but I
I
bought
said,
it.
you're not bad if you're mad. That's a feeling. It depends what you do with it. If you get mad and kill your wife, I mean, that's bad. But if you get mad and punch a punching bag, that's neutral. Then you're saving your stomach. Instead of going down, you can let some out. You got a whole lifetime to catch up with downstairs.
That's true, because when I exercise, I normally feel better, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but it's not, it's exercise. It's not saying my anger's valid. It depends what I do with it. If I store it, I'm going to dump it on my kid.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Right. Okay, so we're going to talk next week. Let me know how you're doing with your punching bag, okay?
Great, thanks.
Okay, fantastic. Really, it was a pleasure talking with you. You're a bright guy.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve. Well, for those of you who have seen the show, that is not Steve. Who is that?
I'm Ed Nieves. I'm chair of the Department of Academic Enrichment at Kutztown University.
And he is a teacher. How about that? Hey, Eddie, you've done a lot of shows for me, and thank you so much because you have a very deep understanding of all of this. And what you're doing is bringing it, making it real to whoever's listening out there. And I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the shows you've done. It's very real. It's totally unrehearsed. But because you have that understanding, you can play the role. And I appreciate that. It's a great way to offer the public something to consider.
You're welcome.
Okay. That's great. Okay, Eddie, I hope we'll do another show very soon. And for those of you, I want to thank you for watching and for writing your letters and saying hello when I'm bopping around the supermarket somewhere. And I just want to tell you that if you have any issue at all, and you'd like us to do a show about it, I'd like you to write to my website, which is drjennyklein.com. And my camera guy and producer here, Kaz Beelan of Premier Media, has always done a wonderful job with these shows for many, many years. And I just wanted to thank Kaz a lot, because I never do, and I should. And I just wanted to say I want you to take real good care of yourself and just keep looking through the looking glass. See you next week.
Dr. Jenny Klein would love to hear from you. Email her, jennyklein@gmail.com, or give her a call at 908-722-2933. If you'd like to see more, feel free, just go to drjennyklein.com.